You're watching Camnet News. Thank you so much for choosing us. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. The top stories on our desk this evening: PF Vice President given LUBINDA cries foul as the ACC links him to corruption charges. ERB revises fuel pump prices downwards. 1.46 billion kwacha funds released for social protection programs. In international news, at least 10 killed in Kenya in an explosive accident. And in sports news, Newcastle and West Ham making a deadline day to push sign Jesse Lingard on loan.
From 31st January to 6 February 2022, Zambia's spiritual atmosphere will take a paradigm shift. The Bible says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord."
Zambia, a nation under God conference
will be starting at 20:45 hours
to 22:30 hours.
Live on Camnet TV channel 274 on DSTV, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Speakers will be
Bishop Stanley Simnyola, Grace Ministries;
Dr. Nervous Mumba, Victory Ministries;
Apostle Michael Mutemwa from South Africa;
Bishop Nelly Chikwanda, New Life Christian Center;
Apostle Rick Kamwanga, Risen Life Church International;
Bishop Joy Makando, Bread of Life;
Bishop Alex Mwami of Holy Ghost Firehouse from South Africa; and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilua.
Camnet Television,
not just another channel.
Thank you for choosing us. The news in detail. The Energy Regulation Board, ERB, has reduced the pump price for petroleum products by 1 kwacha 32 ngwe per litre for petrol and 1 kwacha 33 ngwe per litre for diesel. According to ERB, petrol will now be purchased at 19 kwacha 84 ngwe and from 21 kwacha 16 ngwe per litre, while diesel will be going at 18 kwacha 93 ngwe and from 20 kwacha 15 ngwe. This price review has been necessitated by the decision to migrate to the monthly pricing cycle, which now entails that the local price of fuel is more responsive to the market fundamentals, namely the international oil prices and the kwacha US dollar exchange rates prevailing in the month preceding the price decision. In other news, residents of Munali Township in Lusaka have called for the demolition of abandoned structures in Mutendere Township that have remained incomplete for years, which are said to be harboring criminals. In an interview with Camnet News, the residents narrate that a few days ago, a woman of the same area was raped in one of the incomplete structures in the early hours of the morning, a matter that was reported to Mutendere Police Station. Details in this report.
Incomplete buildings whose construction seems to have been abandoned for years on end in communities has always been seen as a threat to security, as it is said that criminals hide here. It is also reported by concerned residents that drug abuse happens in places like this, as some youth in communities are said to be in the exchange of various types of drugs in such buildings. This is the situation in Lusaka's Mutendere compound, where the residents have called for an audit of such structures. The residents narrate that the area recorded a rape case in the early hours of the morning a few days ago, a matter which was reported to Mutendere Police Station, stating that this re-echoes their concerns about the buildings.
Last week I started with guys. But I'm sleeping. I'm not very good. I'm sleeping at the Mutendere clinic.
They have also called for increased police patrol in the area, stating that they're being terrorized by criminal gangs locally known as junkies.
Please, stay in power because I'm just let my junkie who was raping around was awful some pull my bag. So please, last week when I raping girls 05. Especially time in the rain season, kind of mashas want to match it so 05 is a snam very. That's some Kashana raping them.
My junkie, I should over Kutuyamuke when decide to market to Kuja. Usova na popit, Bazampola want to my phone. So please, like a conserve by UPND.
Meanwhile, Camnet News has reached out to the Department of City Planning at the Lusaka City Council LCC to determine its plans concerning the said structures.
Yeah, those are complete ones. Okay, no, I think those we deal with them case by case. Yeah, so the issue of getting them from the owners, I think that one give me a bit of time. I consult with my colleagues from our Department of Housing and Public Health on how best we can handle those specific cases.
Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A driver of Chilanga district has cheated death after a fuel tanker he was driving careered off the road, locally known as 7070, and turned on its side into a drainage. According to the driver, this happened when another driver who overtook his fuel tanker avoided a head-on collision with an oncoming vehicle. In an interview with Camnet News, residents of the same area say accidents of a similar nature happen on the same new road nearly on a daily basis due to overspeeding, and have called for the process of putting up speed humps to quicken in order to save lives.
This is a new road in Chilanga district which has been named as 7070 Road by the locals. While the construction of the road has been welcomed in the area, residents around here and pedestrians have expressed concern about the overspeeding that happens on this road due to the lack of speed humps. A fuel tanker driver on this road has cheated death after he has escaped unhurt following his tanker careering off the road. The driver explains that he was trying to avoid being involved in a head-on collision as a vehicle which was overtaking him almost collided with an oncoming vehicle.
So, kuri wachimichita overtake?
Kuri overtake, nomba. I said, apply for the road, for the problem, of course, I apply my brake. Then you can have to raise a few times, so I have to apply my brake.
Pedestrians have also expressed concern about the speed of vehicles on the same road. The area councillor has also spoken on the same.
Several accidents. It's a newly constructed road. We have had several accidents on the same road, especially on the four-way, where motorists are not giving each other chance. But we have suggested to the concerned that they should put up humps so that once they approach the four-way, vehicles are able to reduce speed. But before lives are lost, we ask AFCONs and RDE to make sure that the humps are constructed to avoid loss of life and property.
While no death has been recorded in this particular case, there are concerns of potential fatalities if speed humps are not put soon. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News.
Democratic Party leader Harry Calabar has written to the Speaker of the National Assembly to constitute a committee which should ascertain whether President Hakainde Hichilema has breached the Constitution by being implicated in a leaked audio. Mr. Calabar says President Hichilema should be penalized if it is established that within the framework of the constitutions he has fallen short of one or two things. The DP leader says the silence of the president over the matter where he has been implicated is mockery to governance.
I've just come from dropping a letter with the Speaker concerning the happenings, especially on the leaked audio, where the President has chosen silence instead of making a very substantive point. I think it's a mockery to governance. We as DP are writing to the Speaker to see how well the Speaker can look at this matter and see if indeed the President has fallen short of one or two issues as regards the audio. So we would want the Speaker to constitute a committee to see if the President has breached the Constitution. And then within the framework of the Constitution, we see if the President can be penalized therein.
The Anti-Corruption Commission has warned and cautioned Patriotic Front acting president given LUBINDA on allegations of corruption. Commission spokesperson Queen Chiwe says this was in connection with allegations of being in possession of property reasonably suspected to be proceeds of crime contrary to the laws of Zambia. She says Mr. LUBINDA was summoned to the commission as a suspect, and as such, all procedures related to summoning of a suspect by investigative agency were duly followed. But when speaking to journalists, Mr. LUBINDA claimed that he was being questioned for obtaining a private loan from a private company. Details in this report.
In a solidarity pact amongst the Patriotic Front leadership, they have been escorting each other to appear before the courts and law enforcement agencies. Responding to the question of who is next, Monday, 31st January 2022, was PF Acting President Given LUBINDA, who Monday morning appeared for interrogations before the Anti-Corruption Commission. Queen Chiwe, the ACC spokesperson, confirmed the development to Camnet TV News.
The Corruption Commission has warned and cautioned Patriotic Front Acting President Given LUBINDA on allegations of corruption. Mr. LUBINDA, aged 58, appeared before the ACC today in the company of his 3 lawyers and was warned and cautioned in connection with allegations of being in possession of property reasonably suspected to be process of crime contrary to the laws of Zambia. Mr. LUBINDA was summoned to the commission as a suspect, and all procedure relating to summoning of a suspect by an investigating agency was duly followed.
Meanwhile, speaking to journalists shortly after questioning, the PF Acting President wondered when it became an offense for a private company to get a loan from a fellow private company.
Why institutions, investigative wings of government were transferred from being independent to being put at State House. We know. So we know that the supervisor is no other than the occupant at State House. He's the one who's giving instructions. But let me make this clarion call to Zambians. This harassment of PF shall not bring us to our knees. Instead, it's going to make us even stronger. Arrest me. Arrest me for my company borrowing. When my company borrows, is it your money?
PF aspiring President Chishimba Kambwili said the anti-corruption crusade is tantamount to wastage of taxpayers' money.
Then somebody must resign on moral grounds. This idea of wanting just to hit headlines that the Vice President of PF has been called at anti-corruption so that people think that PF is heading for disaster. This is very, very bad. I call upon the President to exercise his conscience and stop this wasting of public resources. Because even the SEC, to ask somebody over a loan that he got privately is waste of resources. Because man hours is money. They are working to find out from people how they got a private loan.
Zambia's score on the Corruption Perception Index is 33, and according to Transparency International Zambia, it still remains an indication that corruption has become endemic in the country. Patrick Soko, Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
Political parties participating in the Kabwata parliamentary by-election have verified particulars of their various candidates on the ballots. Addressing the media, UPND representative Stephen Kapenda has described the verification process as successful, expressing confidence of retaining the seat. Manual Democratic Party candidate Fred Mubanga says he is confident he will carry the day. A New Heritage Party Kabwata by-election campaign manager Jeff Banda says he is satisfied with the verification process. The Kabwata by-election is slated for Thursday, February 3rd, 2022.
February 3rd, 2022, a day set for the people of Lusaka's Kabwata constituency to elect their preferred candidate as Member of Parliament. As part of the electoral process, political parties participating in the by-election have verified particulars of their various candidates on the ballot paper at the Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ's headquarters office. Democratic Party candidate Fred Mubanga and other several representatives of other 8 contesting political parties have described the verification process as successful.
My party, our campaigns are going well. We are pushing. Everything is going smoothly. I'm sure we are going to scoop the Kabwata seat with the support of our president.
Yeah, so far so good. I don't think there's any problem here. All what we are waiting for now is the voting. Yeah, sure. We are very ready. Sure. We are winning as Patriotic Front. No, we have done our homework. We have reached out to the people. The door-to-door campaign is going on very smoothly, although there was some friction here and there, but so far so good.
I've got a representative with me, but I wanted to be present to see exactly what's happening because we're in battle, and I didn't want to be left out. As you know, there are a lot of things that are happening around, and we don't want to leave any stone unturned.
The UCZ is doing its best. We have no complaints at the moment. The ground is fertile, or it's going on well. Sure.
Meanwhile, ECZ Corporate Affairs Manager Patricia Luhanga says all necessary materials and logistics are in place in preparation for Thursday.
Any breach really is a concern for us as Electoral Commission of Zambia because, as you may be aware, crisscrossing of political parties in campaign areas is what causes violence. We've rightly said and been very consistent that violence undermines the credibility of an election, and these are things that we do not want to see happen. Our call to all the political parties is they must adhere to the campaign schedule in the remaining days. What we have done as Electoral Commission with the complaints that we have received, we're engaging the respective political parties that are affected by this and try and ensure that this issue does not repeat itself. We are not taking for granted that the period remaining is short, but we'll ensure that this is done accordingly.
The by-election comes after the demise of the UPND Member of Parliament, Levi Mukandawire, who died in an accident in November of 2021. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
President Hakainde Hichilema has charged that people of Kabwata constituency do not need to go back to the opposition Patriotic Front, which allegedly failed them. The head of state has since called on residents of Chilenje's Mapoloto area to vote for the UPND candidate Andrew Tayengwa in the Kabwata parliamentary election. Addressing residents in the area during a door-to-door campaign, President Hichilema said the UPND has brought change and hope to Chilenje residents who were terrorized for many years. He said his administration has already made headway in improving the welfare of citizens, as evidenced in the paying of council workers, retirees, and soon-to-disperse Constituency Development Fund. President Hichilema further assured traders at Chilenje Market of being empowered with capital to enhance their businesses, while promising youths of empowerment funds from CDF. He has also urged Mr. Tayengwa not to abandon electorates when he gets into parliament because they are employing him to serve them. An investigative officer from the Anti-Corruption Commission, Christopher Siwakwi, has denied before the Lusaka Magistrate Court of allegedly appointing a firearm at former State House press aide Amos Chanda during the search operation the Commission conducted at one of Mr. Chanda's property in October 2021. Testifying in a case in which Mr. Chanda, his wife Mebo Chanda, and sister-in-law Ruth Nakaundi are accused of using insulting language and obstructing ACC officers, Mr. Siwakwi testified that it was not ACC officers' nature to harass any individual they are searching, as they respect human rights. Mr. Siwakwi has also testified that he was allegedly called a criminal and corrupt by Mr. Chanda when he refused to grant him access inside his property because he wanted to force entry and allow the media to cover and search ACC was doing. Details.
The Lusaka's Magistrate Court heard Monday morning from a state witness that former State House press aide Amos Chanda called him a criminal and corrupt after he refused to allow him inside his property when the Anti-Corruption Commission officers were conducting a search. This is in a matter in which Mr. Chanda, his wife Mebo Chanda, and sister-in-law Ruth Nakaundi are accused of using insulting language and obstructing ACC officers. ACC Investigative Officer Christopher Siwakwi, who was called on the stand as one of the witnesses by the state, told Chief Resident Magistrate Dominic Makalicha in his examination-in-chief that he denied Mr. Chanda entry at one of his property in State Lodge because Mr. Chanda wanted the media to be part of the search that ACC officers were conducting, something that would have jeopardized their work. In his further testimony before court, Mr. Swakwi narrated that he was embarrassed over the alleged derogatory remarks uttered by Mr. Chanda as it went viral on social media. Meanwhile, during cross-examination, the witness denied having pointed a firearm at Mr. Chanda or having assaulted his sister-in-law. In the first count, allegations are that Mr. Chanda, on the 27th of October 2021, used derogatory remarks to a senior SCC investigations officer, Friday Tembo, William Chiluvya, and Christopher Siwakwi in due execution of their duty, to which is alleged to have called them idiots and criminals. While in the second charge, his wife Mabel Chanda and sister-in-law Ruth Nakaunti on the said date allegedly uttered derogatory remarks, among those calling them monkeys. And further, all the three accused persons are said to have obstructed SCC officers and delayed them from lawfully searching at one of Mr. Chanda's property in Lusaka's Woodlands area. Trial in this matter continues before court. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Constitutional Court has reserved judgment to 9th March 2022 in a case in which the Law Association of Zambia is seeking an interpretation provision of the Constitution which the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, used to stop opposition Patriotic Front members of Parliament whose election were nullified by the High Court from attending any parliamentary proceeding. When the matter came up for hearing before court, LAS President Abiud Chonga submitted the involvement of LAS in the petition is not taking sides but is of public interest seeking clarity. LAS further wants to know what happens to members of Parliament whose elections have been nullified and have climbed the ladder and appealed to the Constitutional Court. Miriam Kaimba once again filed this report from the court.
A month from now, the Constitutional Court is expected to deliver its judgment in a case in which the Law Association of Zambia is seeking that the court interprets the provision of the Constitution which the Speaker of the National Assembly used to disallow 9 opposition Patriotic Front members of Parliament whose elections were recently nullified by the High Court from taking part in any parliamentary business. On the 7th of December 2021, the Speaker, Nelly Muti, ordered the 9 PF members of Parliament whose elections result were nullified out of Parliament until a determination of their appeal was heard by the Constitutional Court, following a point of order raised by Chufuwi, Member of Parliament. LAS in this petition has cited the Attorney General as the respondent and wants an interpretation of Articles 72 and 73 of the Constitution that hinge on the determination and interpretation of the parliamentary petitions. However, when the matter came up for hearing Monday morning, Solicitor General Masho Mchende, in his submission, said the state had a different perspective that he wanted the court to adopt, as after studying the Constitution on the said articles, they have not found any provision that suggests that members of Parliament shall continue to hold a seat even in the absence of a stay until the appeal is determined. And considering the provision of Article 272, in general, the gap or lacuna was found in by the legislator from Section 1084 of the Electoral Process Act, and that section speaks to the case where an MP seat has been nullified. It states that where a seat has been nullified, a vacancy is created until the seat is filled, adding that not all details can be contained in the Constitution, as the Constitution will give guidance in the broad terms, but the details can be found in Acts of Parliament. The state has also submitted that the effect of the nullification by the High Court is to create a vacancy in the National Assembly, and if there is no appeal, the Speaker can communicate to the Electoral Commission of Zambia for fresh elections. Judgment has since been reserved to the 9th of March 2022. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In other news, Care for Nature Zambia Executive Director Nsama Kearns is disappointed that government has proceeded with mining activities in the Lower Zambezi despite the issues that have been brought to the table of the matter. Mrs. Kearns says the Lower Zambezi is a national heritage which plays an important role in the ecosystem, and Citizens Environmental and Social Concern Executive Director Conwell Hakapia says the location of the mine in the Lower Zambezi makes risk of pollution and collateral damage to the environment is high, a route he says is not worth taking as a country. Details
in the southern part of Zambia is the Lower Zambezi, on which the Zambezi National Park, which houses over 378 animal species, lies. The proposal by the Patriotic Front government to introduce an open-pit mine in the Lower Zambezi raised a lot of concerns from different stakeholders, including the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, who conducted a research to ascertain the impact the mining will have on the ecosystem. And the decision taken by the New Dawn government to continue with the mining activity in the Lower Zambezi, as announced by Green Economy and Environment Minister Collins Nzovu, has angered some environmentalists. Care for Nature Zambia Executive Director Nsama Kins has wondered what benefit the mining will bring compared to protecting the ecosystem.
I've received with shock, and we are very saddened by the revelation that mining in the Lower Zambezi is still going to take place, despite the numerous concerns that people have raised concerning the wildlife and the ecosystem there. It is quite saddening that despite all the issues that have been brought to the table and all the evidence, including the Zambia Environmental Management Agency report, which raised concern in the beginning that mining cannot take place in this area, the petition has been thrown out of court and mining is scheduled to take place.
She has since appealed to other environmentalists to join hands and challenge government's decision to allow an open pit mine in the Lower Zambezi.
My appeal is to all Zambians, because Lower Zambezi, being a national area, a national park, is not only for the people who are found there to be concerned about jobs or to make decisions on behalf of all the Zambians, because this is a national heritage and the resources which are there are for all of us Zambians. So we should come together as activists, as organizations working in the environmental sector, as organizations that are there to protect wildlife. Let's come together and ensure that we fight for mining not to take place in the Lower Zambezi.
And Citizens Environmental and Social Concern Executive Director Conwell Hakapia says the mine is about 980 square kilometers, which is 25% of the entire national park, and is between two seasonal rivers which flows directly into the Zambezi River, which he says risks pollution and collateral damage to the environment.
We are still having unresolved lake poisoning issues like in Kabwe, and many mining communities keep suffering from pollution, which is done with impunity. And this action also negates Zambia's progress as a country on SDG number 15, which is to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems. And we strongly believe that this action may set a very dangerous precedent for large-scale investment in high biodiversity areas around this beautiful country.
Government has since been advised to bring stakeholders to the table and hear their grievances over the matter. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching Camnet News. We take our first set of commercials. When we return, we have more interesting stories. Stay with us.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of Savenda Electronics.
At Savenda Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, Savenda Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. Savenda Electronics provides on and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel.
Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
From 31st January to 6 February 2022, Zambia's spiritual atmosphere will take a paradigm shift. The Bible says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord."
Zambia, a nation under God conference
will be starting at 20:45 hours
to 22:30 hours.
Live on Camnet TV channel 274 on DSTV, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Speakers will be
Bishop Stanley Simonyola, Grace Ministries,
Dr. Nevas Mumba, Victory Ministries,
Apostle Michael Mutemwa from South Africa,
Bishop Nelly Chikwanda, New Life Christian Center,
Apostle Rick Kamwanga, Risen Life Church International,
Bishop Joy Makando, Bread of Life,
Bishop Alex Mwami of Holy Ghost Firehouse from South Africa, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilua.
Camnet Television,
not just another channel. Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying on. An economist, Dr. Patrick Chilishe, has charged that attaining a single-digit inflation rate, as predicted by government, may be difficult. Speaking in an exclusive interview with Camnet News, Dr. Chilishe says the monthly revision of fuel price, if not done correctly, may be a contributing factor to high inflation. Dr. Chilishe adds that the interest rates on the global market will cause a huge movement in terms of capital back to the United States, which will weaken the Zambian kwacha. He has since advised the government in the short term to tighten the monetary policy and in the medium term to diversify the mix of exports away from copper.
Single-digit inflation is possible in the medium term, that is within 1 to 2 years, and that is if current conditions continue to exist. But there are quite a number of moving factors that may actually make it very difficult for government to achieve a single-digit inflation in the next 12 to 24 months. The first one of them is the removal of subsidies on petroleum products, and we've been told now that the prices will be revised every month, meaning that they are going to take into account the appreciation, the changes in the value of the Zambian kwacha, as well as the prices of petroleum products on the international market. So as long as these factors are moving, we are likely to have a situation where prices are going to be revised every month, and that is going to fuel inflation. At the moment, we are seeing interest rates on the global markets which have started ticking up, and what that is going to do is that it is going to cause a huge movement in terms of capital back to the US, which is a safe haven, and that is going to push the kwacha to actually continue depreciating. And the kwacha
Government has released 1.46 billion kwacha for the social protection programs financed by the International Monetary Fund Special Drawing Rights. Finance Minister Dr. Stombeko Msokotwane says of the total amount, 1 billion kwacha is targeted at paying pensioners under the Public Service Pensions Fund, while 217 million kwacha is for the purchase of drugs and medical supplies. Dr. Msokotwane adds that 169 million kwacha will go towards social cash transfer programs, while 40 million kwacha is for the Food Security Pack program. The Finance Minister says 1 billion kwacha released for paying pensioners is to safeguard their livelihoods and ensure that the money they labored for during their time of service is in their hands. Dr. Msokotwane also says in order to ensure effective checks and balances, special accounting and reports on the utilization of the proceeds will be undertaken. He has since urged all implementing agencies of the Social Protection and Pensions Fund to ensure that transparent payment systems are deployed so as to alleviate the hardships endured by the citizens. In other news, the local authority in Siavonga district have expressed displeasure over reports of 2 juveniles aged 16 from unnamed schools who have been apprehended for allegedly stealing street lights cables in Kanyele compound. In a press statement availed to Camnet TV Monday, Siavonga Town Council Public Relations Officer Gwendolyn Mchenga has disclosed that the council will need over 250,000 kwacha to replace the stolen cables. Ms. Mwanza indicates that the local authority has been in recent past receiving reports of vandalism and theft of streetlight cables taking place in the district by unscrupulous people. She has since warned that individuals who are in the habit of stealing and vandalizing will face the law, hence must cease from doing so. Meanwhile, the juvenile, a grade 8 pupil, was apprehended in the early hours of Monday morning around 01 hours by the State Police and Siavonga Town Council officers after a tip-off from members of the public. The duo was taken to Siavonga Police Station, where they are currently detained. You're watching Camnet News. We take our second set of commercials when we return at sports and international news. Stay with us.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too, me.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
From 31st January to 6 February 2022, Zambia's spiritual atmosphere will take a paradigm shift. The Bible says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord."
Zambia, a nation under God conference
will be starting at 20:45 hours
to 22:30 hours.
Live on Camnet TV channel 274 on DSTV, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Speakers will be
Bishop Stanley Simnyola, Grace Ministries,
Dr. Nevas Mumba, Victory Ministries,
Apostle Michael Mutemwa from South Africa,
Bishop Nelly Chikwanda, New Life Christian Center,
Apostle Rick Kamwanga, Risen Life Church International,
Bishop Joy Makando, Bread of Life,
Bishop Alex Mwami of Holy Ghost Firehouse from South Africa, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilua.
Camnet Television,
not just another channel.
You're still watching Camnet News. Thank you for staying on. In international news, 6 people have died when a minibus was destroyed by the roadside bomb during an ambush by armed men in northwestern Kenya near the border with Somali, police say. In other news, former South African President Jacob Zuma was back at the Pietermaritzburg court on Monday. The 79-year-old man challenges an October court ruling banning his plea to replace the chief prosecutor in his corruption trial. South Africa's ex-president Jacob Zuma made a surprise court appearance in his latest bid to replace the chief prosecutor. Here's a roundup of international news.
At least 10 people died Monday when a minibus was destroyed by a roadside bomb during an ambush by armed men in northeastern Kenya near the border with Somalia. The assailants opened fire on the 14-seater vehicle after it ran over the explosive device about 8 kilometers from the town of Mandera. A police report said a general service unit patrol team, which was on foot and nearby, engaged the attackers, who fled towards the Somali border. The police further say that the assailants used guns and rocket-propelled grenades during the assault. Other regions bordering Somalia are also susceptible to attack, and Kenyan officials are often quick to blame the militants for assaults on its soil. Kenya has suffered several deadly Al-Shabaab attacks in retaliation for sending troops into Somalia in 2011 as part of an African Union force to oust the jihadists.
The trial started.
Former South African President Jacob Zuma was back at the Pietermaritzburg court on Monday. The 79-year-old man accused of corruption appeared to court last October. A court ruling then banned his plea to replace the chief prosecutor in his trial. Zuma accused prosecutor Billy Downer of partiality and claimed he was guilty of misconduct. So this time, the former president is asking for court to grant him leave to appeal the judgment. Back in 1999, Zuma allegedly took bribes in an arms deal with French defense giant Thales. The corruption trial is set to start off on April 11.
Uganda and Rwanda reopened their Gatuna border post on Monday, signaling the end of a 3-year frosty relationship between the two East African nations. The frontier was closed in February 2019 as tensions between Kigali and Kampala spiraled over rival accusations of espionage and political meddling. Kigali, which used to rely on Uganda route for bulk of its imports, announced it will reopen the border as a step towards repairing ties. Rwandan government spokeswoman Yolande Makolo said on Twitter that trucks, Rwandan citizens and returning residents were able to cross into the country at Gatuna in line with COVID-19 restrictions. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni's powerful son Muhoozi Kainerugaba, seen as playing a key role in Rwanda's decisions, said in a tweet that people can now freely move, trade and also interact as always intended. A few frustrated Rwandese had earlier on complained after being blocked to move across the border. On the Ugandan side, some at the border post reported delays for goods clearance. Uganda's Immigration Commissioner Marcelino Besige said the two sides had agreed to give priority to cargo trucks, but that non-essential travel was not encouraged because of COVID protocols.
Well, that's it for international news. We go straight into sports news. Newcastle United and West Ham are both making a deadline day push to sign Jesse Lingard on loan. Lingard met with Ralph Rangnick on Monday, and the Manchester United caretaker boss has given his blessing for the player to leave the window. The final decision is now in the hands of Manchester United board, who are yet to respond to either club or Lingard's representative. Lingard, whose contract expires this summer, is keen to move before the window shuts tonight. He wants regular first-team football so he can play his way into Gareth Southgate's England squad ahead of this year's World Cup. Well, that sporting item ends our news this evening. The headlines once again. PF Vice President given LUBINDA cries foul as ACC links him to corruption charges. ERB revises fuel pump prices downwards. 1.46 billion kwacha funds released for social protection programs. In international news, at least 10 killed in Kenya in an explosive accident. And in sports, Newcastle and West Ham making a deadline day push to sign Jesse Lingard on loan. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day. It's coming from James 1 verse 5, and it reads, "Now if any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives to all generously and without criticizing, and it will be given to him." Well, thank you so much for choosing Camnet TV. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. Good night and keep watching the station.